So obviously you watched the last video where we made the little tiny dog leg pieces on the bed, kind of bring that size back to what it was supposed to be. Now we're kind of working back on the fenders. And fun fact, this is the infamous fender that everyone talked about on that short video. Let me bring you guys in. You know, the fender that everyone said I should have hand rolled with my bead roller and did all this and did all that. The only problem is I haven't found my bead roller. So I elected to weld this guy up like a Terry's chocolate orange. And it's worked out pretty good so far. So now that we have a fender to actually, look at, there's a little bit of rust repair and some parts that we have to finalize on this. Now, both fenders are kind of like this. You got the spot here that I came down the entire way and did a cut and butt. Got a piece of steel that needs to be ripped off both sides. Not a big deal. I got to finish up this back corner here. Then on this fender, we got rust repair there, rust repair here, rust repair down there. And then the old owner put rebar inside here to keep the shape. Well, we're just going to, make a new lip. That way is going to work a lot better. But we got rebar here, all that kind of stuff. Same thing kind of works out on this fender. Where we did the cut and butt, we got to fix all that. But this is the worst one that had the Bondo on it. And the reason why, it has riveted plates. Riveted plate there, riveted plate here. And this whole lip here is all a riveted plate. All the way down like that. So we got to basically cut that guy out, replace, cut that guy out, replace, do a bunch of work on this. And then so we got our work cut out for us, not going to lie. But it should actually turn out pretty good once it's all done. And we got to do this step before we can mate the fenders, just in case we have to drill a hole and we end up, coming into a spot that has no fender, that kind of stuff. So we just got to repair it before we can use it. Welcome to IO Stable Garage. So there we go. Now that a lot of the beating and thrashing were done, I've kind of had to level out some welds there with the body hammer. Now we can actually start doing the body work on this fender. And by body work, I mean just getting rid of the rust. There's a couple of rust holes on it that we got to address. So let me bring you guys in. I'm going to show you guys the first one that we're going to tackle. Overall, it's not too bad for the rust holes. We got one down there. That whole bottom lip needs to be changed out. One here, we got a piece of rebar hiding, a piece of rebar hiding here. He has to go. Got to add a little patch in there, weld that guy up. Patch there, patch down at the bottom, make the bottom lips. Not too bad, really. So first that we're going to tackle is this bottom lip right here. There we go. So first that we're going to tackle is this bottom lip right here. I'm pretty much going to come up all the way up to here, and then almost form the entire thing, and then we'll do the outer edge after. So let's start doing that right now. So the idea is, I'm gonna take this piece of steel, put it on here, form it up, and then after we can use the parts, the old rotten ones, engage the distance that we have to cut it at, zing it off, and then we can add our final lip at the end. I think that way is gonna work out pretty darn good. So let me set you guys up. Just gonna start hot welding this guy in all the way across, bend him up. All right, so that's what we got right now. Basically, just the height. When I arced it down to do the corner, kind of lost a little bit of width, so we might have to, depending on where that lip ends, because I got to cut that after, but depending on where that lip ends, I might have to, add just a tiny little bit right here. Not a big deal. So let's get the rusty sections, and let's see just what we got. Here's the corner piece. Put that guy in. So as you can see, we're actually too tall on this. So what I might do is add slits on this, and then I might be able to even just beat that down and do my corner bit that way. That way I don't have to cut a new piece of steel and go around. So based off of the other sections, here's another section right here. This guy was originally right here. That's my height on that side. Let me flip them over here, as you can see a little bit better. That's my height. So I got plenty to work with. So I'm gonna mark it out, scribe it out, and then I'll add some slits into this, and then I can arc it over. We might even be able to reuse this corner piece here. It's a little rotten right there, but the rest of it doesn't seem that bad. So that might actually work fine for my transition piece. Cut it right here. Zing. Just use that little tiny corner piece, and that's it. So it's all cut and butt. Now I can start to go around my line. I got it scribed in. All I'm gonna do, start bending it over, and then where I got it cut so it bends nice, I'll cut. And then we'll keep bending. So. That's kind of how it's looking from the side. From the top, not too shabby, not too bad. So now, next thing that we want to do, I'm going to basically cut it right here, come up the entire fender, and match it up to this. Weld that seamless, and then we'll drill our holes back in, because that's how this guy mounts up to the truck. But we also have to come all the way down in here, but I'm going to do it in two separate pieces. One here, and then one there. And then after the one here, I can do my little tiny lip that goes along the inner edge of this, and then it will finalize that whole thing. Got that one all done. Time to work on the other. All right, so let's jump into this section right here. This one's gonna be a little interesting because I gotta be able to ply it here and there. This has to pull in and a whole bunch of stuff as I work on it, but it shouldn't be that difficult. And then as for the bottom lip, we're actually pretty good. Just a little bit of extra cut and butt, but I left myself a whole bunch of extra on that bottom. So I should only have to do down to here, 90 it, and then I can tee into this. So, got a pretty much new lip all the way through, curled under right here, and this is where we kind of left off. I welded this little guy up off camera. It was just a crack in the steel. So here, other than straightening, we're pretty much square up until here. This is a piece of, it looks like rebar or like a hollow tube, or I don't know. Either way, this was welded in or brazed in a long time ago. And likely just because it cracked here and he wanted to fix it, I don't think it's rotten. So I'm gonna cut this tube out, try to straighten that up, and then weld that guy back in. And then we have the exact same thing happening right here. I shouldn't need to add any pieces. It should just need to be welded. Oh, just like I suspected, this is just cracked. The steel's okay, and it was brazed on with this tube. So I'm gonna bend that back out the best I can, try to squeeze that guy back together, and we're gonna lay hot weld over that. The braze, I'm gonna try to clean that up the best I can, but we'll see. So let's get started. So all the steel fab is done on this. Now I just got to do some minor tweaking to the actual fender itself to make sure it lines up with everything. Kind of take out some big dents that are in it, that kind of stuff, easy stuff. So, I'm just going to set you guys up. I'm just going to wail on this with a hammer for a little bit, and then we can actually start dry fitting it onto the truck. All right, so now we have a rough idea where these fenders are going to lie. So I'm just going to take the angle grinder, trim these guys up to what they're supposed to be, slide the fender in. Once I mount the fender, then I can really tweak these guys, do the finishing touch on them. But for right now, we just got to make it so that the fender can clear. So I'm just going to cut on the inner side of this chalk line, put the fender in, maybe just tack it in for now, and then work on those. Looking at there, fellas, as you can see, those end cap pieces really kind of bring it in, which is exactly what I wanted. So now I'm just going to quickly trim this one up just a little bit more, because we got to have a room for a plate that goes in, and that plate will bolt to the fender on the bottom. But first thing, those tacks are not strong and they're not going to hold very well. So what I want to do, I just want to drill the fender at the back, or maybe even just run some self-tappers into the bed now just to hold it there until we get to drilling. But yeah, here's a little bit of a view from the back. Not that right there is kind of the stance that you're going to see from the front looking back. And it works out pretty good, because when I put that running board, it's going to bolt to this fender, go under, and I'm thinking about either going under that fender or doing a direct bolt in like this. But we're going to have to wait and see on that. First off, we got to do this. This is priority. And like, see what I mean? The tacks, they're not very strong holding this guy on. That one already let go. So I'm just going to quickly hot tack that guy again, and then we're going to go find some self-tappers and run those in right now. Bolted on, and it's actually, you know, quite a milestone, because I don't know when the last time these fenders were actually bolted onto this bed. It'd be a long time ago. But yeah, it's literally one piece now, so quite a milestone. But now what we got to do, I just got to make a little sliver of steel for both sides, tack it in, and then just cut it to shape, drill it, and those will basically bolt the fender on the bottom section to the rest of the body. I think that's going to work out pretty good, and it will help keep the flex down here at the bottom at bay, just a little bit. When we make the back running board, that will tie into this too, and to that piece, but for right now, that's what's going to hold the fender on. And I think it's going to do a pretty darn good job, tell you the honest truth. So, let's fire up the welder again. I'm just going to quickly trim that back to square, now that we know what we're dealing with. Put my plate on, weld it on, and then from there, we'll drill it. All right, there we go. I got these two end caps. They're all done now. So now what we're gonna do, they got little nubs from the weld tacks and all that stuff. I'm just gonna cut them all off there, grind those off. Again, we're not grinding the welds. I'm just grinding off these little weld tacks because they're kind of in the way when you put the fender on. Doesn't line up right, or line up worse than it already does, you know what I mean? So I'm just gonna grind those down, grind those off the fender itself. Then we're going to mount the fender back, and then we can drill our holes and mount those guys on the end. All right, so I got this guy all bolted on. Now, I just got to drill out the holes on the bottom of this and the holes on the bottom of that, and then it will bolt the fender on the bottom to the bed. Awesome. That fender right there is pretty much bolted solid right onto this truck. I'm pretty sure I could put my weight on it. Yeah, I can put my weight on it, and it shouldn't actually move around too much. Give me a second. Gotta make sure it's strong, you know, has to pass the test. Oh yeah, there's no problem there. That's 100% of my weight on that fender. Not even a give, not even a budge. Awesome. So, one last thing to do. Let's see how it looks like with the tire under it. I think that turned out pretty good, all things considered. Got a little bit of a overlap on this side. That was just me, you know, when I made my bracing at the back, I didn't get the shape right, but I'm okay to live with that. It fits in with the rest of the truck, and you only know it's there if, you know, you paid attention. The rest of it actually lines up pretty darn good. Take a look down the side. No poke. I think it did pretty good. Again, that's what it looks like from the back. Pretty awesome. That completes this side for now. Next time we're going to be on this side. We're either going to be doing the back running board to the bumper, all that stuff, or the front running board all the way forward. But for the front one, we still have to do the front end, get that 100% squared away before we make the running board off of it. But the back, we could do as long as the other fender's done. Speaking about that, we have to do the exact same thing on the other side, so a lot of repeat, you know what I mean? But you know, this fender holds the weight. That's pretty good. I think we did a great job restoring this fender and modifying it for our purpose. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Maybe on the fender, maybe on the back. Who really knows at this point? See you guys.